Yes, we are. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Sports Take. Let's hit the like button, friends, if we could. That is Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis hanging out with you on this Wednesday. All right, Derek, so a couple things with the Eagles here. 5-0 start, as you mentioned. One other team, the 49ers, also undefeated. I was looking at it today, and the teams with one loss. So we have some. The Dolphins 4-1.
Yep.
Obviously, played very good football. Had the one slip up. Kansas City 4-1. They lost their opener. That game was out Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, so they're 4-1 as well. Detroit 4-1. They've won 3 straight, playing very good football right now across the board.
Yep.
Tampa 3-1. They had the bye week last week. Seattle 3-1 also had the bye week. So they're your either no loss or one loss teams. And like I said, we'll do our power rankings later, but to be, one of 2 teams still standing here through 5 weeks, impressive. Let's start with Jaylen Carter here. I said this yesterday. I've been saying this for a while now. I'm lifting the rookie tag off of him because he is a premier defensive tackle, period. You look at the numbers, 2 sacks versus the Rams. He's got 3.5 through the season so far through 5 games, 4 tackles for losses, 4 quarterback hits. If you do view him through the rookie prism, according to Pro Football Focus, in virtually every single category among rookie defensive tackles, he's number 1. Win rate, sacks, tackles for losses, etc. He is right there. And according to Sean Desai yesterday, who was speaking about him when he met with the media, he said he's like a sponge. This guy soaks up everything that is thrown his way. They have been. He stopped himself short of saying like pleasantly surprised, but let's face it, Derek, we knew the reputation wasn't great. It's why he lasted to where the Eagles took him. But so far, I'm talking about off the field. So far, glowing, raving returns on what kind of teammate he's been and player.
You talk about a student of the game. After that game against the Rams, he told the media that he spent the entire 5 hours on the flight to Los Angeles looking at film of the offensive line tendencies. Usually a young player, when they get on the flight, they want to rest up, they're jaw-jacking with teammates, get a couple hours of sleep. This dude's studying game film of the offensive line. Now, they spent all week studying film. He takes it a step farther to make sure he's seeing what he wants to see, and already the mechanisms in his head. If I use this move, if I use this powered burst, I can do this, I can do that. I don't know to what degree Fletcher Cox has been a mentor to him, but if it has been significant, because he said he's learned a lot from Fletcher, they should give Fletcher a bonus. I'm serious, because this young man has surpassed in 5 games, I think, everybody's expectations. We knew coming out he was one of the top 2 defensive players on the board. Houston took who they took, and the Eagles were fortunate to get this young man at number 9. Man, did they get a steal at number 9 with this kid? And if he can stay healthy, he will be a cornerstone for this defense for at least a decade. You know how the Eagles are. If they like a player, he's going to be here. They'll do everything they can to keep him here for a long time, i.e. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson. They are not shy about keeping players that they love to keep in the fold. If this young man continues to play this kind of consistent football, he'll be with his organization for at least a decade, unless something happens devastating like an injury. Yeah. Outside of that, I cannot see him not being here in Philadelphia. I really can't.
I agree with you. I mean, look, what he's done in the early going here has been, I think we all had high expectations of him, because if you saw him play, you knew how talented he was. But, it's one thing to do it in college. It's another thing to do it in the pros. And man, he hasn't skipped a beat. He has just been absolutely awesome so far. So that's one of those where, a lot of times it's wait and see with draft picks, but man, we're not waiting for anything. You see it, you know what this looks like. So that's for sure. I mean, interesting. Jake brought this up yesterday. He was saying you can make an argument that he's an upgrade over Hargrave. First of all, in the run game, it's Carter all day.
Yes.
Hargrave is really good at getting after the quarterback, but if you prorate what Carter's doing so far, Derek, 3.5 through 5 games, he's going to be pushing double digits.
Right now he's looking at a 12 to 14 sack season as a rookie.
Exactly.
Which puts him right in line for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. I think the way the Eagles like to use their D tackles, not only is he shining, but he's allowing other players to do a lot of things as well to contribute to the overall success. And when I say other players, I mean other guys on that front seven, not the back end, but the front seven. Allow them to play certain games and stuff like that to be successful and to win more battles than they lose. This young man has already commanded the attention of every team that's on the Eagles schedule this year, and rightfully so.
Absolutely.
And this dude, nonstop motor, and you look at the volume of plays he's playing. It's not like they're overplaying him either.
No.
Yeah. And
no, it's been on somewhat limited snaps. Yeah, I agree with you. He's just going to get better.
And let's face it, Rob, when you're 22, you got a whole lot more energy than when you're 29, 30, 32.
Yeah. You talk to BG and Fletcher, and they're like, "Yeah, man, it gets a little tougher as the years go on."
Let them have them. Let them have them, man.
I know. Let me throw this at you real quick, and we'll do the Jets next segment. But I just wanted to pass this along to you. So, the media in New York asked Robert Saleh today about the tush push, and he said, "quote Got to try to give Jalen Hurts 11 kisses."
What does that mean? Oh,
it means all 11 guys better nail them.
You're not getting 11 guys on them. You're not.
No.
There's no way. They don't. Number one, the offensive line is too big, and you look at how low they get when that ball snapped.
Yeah, the leverage is crazy.
The leverage, because they know when the snap is, so they automatically have the advantage in terms of leg push before defense can try to lock in and push back. By then, it's too late.
Yeah, I agree.
It's over.
I agree. That's the thing. You don't think every team's trying to give Jalen Hurts 11 kisses?
Exactly, man.
Every single week?
You got guys diving over the pile trying to grab him to hold him up until somebody else can get a push. It's not working.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Not going to do it.
Not going to do it. All right. So DeAndre Swift, Gunner, over 500 total yards already. He's got 434 on the ground. He's got 75 in the air. He's averaging 5.7 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. You know, we thought he was going to be part of a triumvirate, if you will, or even that four-headed monster, and maybe not be the feature guy that he's been so far, but he's blossomed into that, and you know he's thrived in that role. He's been awesome for them so far.
He's been everything they've wanted and then some. He's a game changer. He's a better version of Miles Sanders. As shifty of a runner as Miles Sanders was, this guy's not only shifty, but he's also a better power runner. When he lowers that shoulder and kicks in that leg drive, I think he does a better job. And that's not a knock against Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is a very good running back. But this guy takes it to a whole nother level. He came out of college as a proficient pass catcher. He is that. I wish the Eagles would use him a little bit more in passing situations. But then again, how do you spread the wealth when you have the likes of those 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers and one of the best tight ends in the game? It's hard to do. But just getting him the ball, especially in open space, it's automatic 5-6 yards from what we've seen of him so far. I just want to make sure the Eagles do a very good job of controlling his touches so that he is there at the end and he doesn't have to take any setbacks physically.
Right.
You know, history shows he gets nicked up every now and then, but that's part of football also. But just control. I don't want to see him with 28 touches in a game consistently. There's some games he may have to get 28 touches.
Yeah.
But you keep him right around 17, 21, 22. That's a perfect number for him.
I agree with you. I think you could do more with him long haul with a little less in the meantime. And you know, Gainwell's been you know, maybe you try to incorporate Boston Scott a little bit more into some of this and see what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, I think it's something to monitor for sure because of his injury history. 100%. AJ Brown, man, I 35 catches, 541 yards already, 15.5 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. That's through just 5 games. He's on a pace to have better numbers than he had last year. And I said this to Tone yesterday, Derek. I think we sort of assumed like he was a finished product when he got here.
Yeah.
But he's still so young. He's just getting better.
He's only 25 or 26. That's scary, you know.
Yeah.
And I think at this point he will surpass his numbers. I said I projected that he would not get 1,500 yards. At this point, I have to change my projections because he's on pace to get close to 1,800 yards receiving right now. Now, I don't think that can keep up consistently because certain defenses are going to double him up and try to take him out of games. Then it's Devonta's time to shine, you know, Goddard's time to shine, and, you know, Swift's time to shine as well. But if he can get close to the numbers he's putting up right now, we're talking a 1,800 yard season, which is phenomenal.
It's rare air.
He already broke in 1 year here. He already broke the Eagles single season record for yards. He's going to break his own record by a couple of hundred yards this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And Devonta Smith is not exactly chopped liver. I mean, you look at what he's doing. He's got 23 catches, 290 yards, more than 12 and a half per catch, and 2 touchdowns. He's played very well. And I expect, last week was quiet, obviously. I would expect him to be a little bit more involved. The Eagles will tend to do that, get the guy that touches early and kind of get him off and get him going a little bit. So I would expect a good week out of him. And this is going to be a challenge. We'll get into this in a minute, but the Jets corners, if DJ Reed is right and he's in concussion protocol, I haven't seen if he's playing or not officially, but with he and Gardner, they're the 2 best tandem they faced all year. Those 2 guys.
I would agree, but they're handcuffed because of who's throwing them the football. It kind of diffuses the weaponry of what they can be.
No, I'm saying the corners for the Jets.
Oh, the corners. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you said the corners. Okay.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner, to me, is just a phenomenal talent. To do what he did as a rookie and to continue that this season, as good as rookies are, and we see some that separate themselves right out of the gate, there's still somewhat of a fear factor because of who you're going up against. And, especially if you're thrown in there as a starter, you don't want to make a glaring mistake, which could cost you and shatter your confidence. I don't know what mold this kid came out of, but he is fearless. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to see if they're going to keep him on one side, because, if he stays on one side, he's either going to get AJ or Devonta, or if they're going to have him shadow Devonta the whole game.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, if he shadows Devonta the whole game, then that means if he shadows AJ the whole game, that means Devonta's going to have a time to step up if Reed's out of the game. But I can't wait to see this matchup. I think the Eagles are going to win the game by double digits because the Jets just don't have the quarterback to put the ball in the end zone. And this is a team that's frustrated. Now, they got a big win last week, no question about it. But this is a team that's frustrated, and you see the animation on the sideline. You see, Garrett Wilson being very animated on the sideline because they're not getting him the ball.
Yeah.
And, and I'm sure to a certain degree, it has to make Zach Wilson that much more uncomfortable knowing that his teammates are frustrated with him. The fan base is frustrated with him. And that makes you a little bit more, timid.
You press a little bit more.
Press more. Yes. And a little bit more timid because you're so afraid of making a mistake. And what happens when you become a little bit more timid? You hold the ball a little bit longer. You allow that Eagles D line to get to you that much more. I was hoping Rodgers would play because I really want to see this be a good game.
Yeah.
But hey, such is the case, and that's why I think this game will be a lopsided when it's over.
Yeah. Look, yeah, sure. I think the Eagles cover the spread. I think it's going to be an Eagles game. I agree with you. Spread is 7-ish.
That low?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think some of it is the Eagles haven't blown teams out necessarily. I think that plays into it a little bit. Let me see if it's moved at all. It was 6.5. It opened at 6.5. Let me just see where it is right now. It's 7. It's 7. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because the Eagles really haven't blown teams out. I think there's still a belief somewhat in the Jets defense. Even though, we'll get into it. You can run on them, but we'll talk about it. But nonetheless,
and there's no way on God's green earth the Jets are going to come. The Jets are going to take the field and run for 230 yards on this Eagles defense.
No,
ain't no way they're running for 230 like they just did. What they run for 234 this past game
on Denver? Yeah, they ripped Denver apart.
There ain't no way in the world they're running for 230 yards on this Eagles defense, which makes them a one-dimensional team because Zach Wilson can't deliver the goods. Yep. So unless the Jets can find a measure of success running the football, control the clock, keep the game close, they'll have a prayer winning this game. Yeah,
I think that's what they're going to try and do, but establish the run. But we'll see because the Eagles have been phenomenal all year in that category. It's a dramatic turnaround because they were mediocre last year at best against the run. One other area the Eagles have been really good from an offensive standpoint is third down conversions. They were 13 for 18
Wow.
against the Rams last week, which is
Mhm.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
So that's encouraging. I mean, what you obviously the thing you want to see them improve on is red zone. Red zone's not acceptable with what they're doing in the red zone in terms of scoring touchdowns, but being able to move the chains is something they've been very good at this year. And that's a credit to Jalen. Jalen's been very good in those situations a lot of times. And, you know, you look at his numbers, Derek, I think they're not going to blow you away, but you have to pay attention to what's happened the last two games in the direction that he's trending. Like he's at 1,262 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completing 67%, 91.4 passer rating, but he's over 300 the last 2 games. He appears to be finding his groove here, especially with Brian Johnson. And he just looks, to me, he looks more comfortable out there altogether as a quarterback.
It's a sign of maturity, I think, with him now, you know. And we talk about him being an old man in a young man's body. But I think this is a part of the maturation of what Jalen Hurts is doing now. You know, we talked about, did he seem a little bit slower? You know, but I think he's more calculated because he showed when he had to against the Rams, he still has that burst. Mm-hmm. I just think he's more calculated now, and I think he's being coached up that way. You know, when you look at what's happening to some of these quarterbacks, look at what happened with Deshaun Watson. Look how different that offense was when he's out of the game. Yeah. Anthony Richardson is probably the biggest quarterback in the NFL at 6'4", 250. Right. Now that dude's he's going to be out at least 4 games with the shoulder injury.
Maybe longer. Yeah,
putting himself in harm's way, taking unnecessary shots. You look at a Lamar Jackson who missed 6-7 games last year because of their overall athleticism. And I think the Eagles have identified this. Look, we're going to utilize all of your attributes, no question about it. We just want to be a little bit smarter with it. We have to be, because we know what you mean to this offense and this team in terms of us getting to where we want to go, which is another shot at the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. Well said, D-Gun. All right, let's come back and let's dig into those Jets. We'll look at what Wilson's doing. We'll look at what Breece Hall's doing offensively, defensively, guys to watch, because they do have some names on the defensive side, legit, but they are banged up on the offensive line, which is where the Eagles tend to eat. That's tend to where they really make their hay. So we'll get into that when we come back. 1 o'clock or 12:30. Sorry, we'll do some Phillies. 1 o'clock, we'll do our NFL segment, including our NFL power rankings. We got a lot in store. You don't want to go anywhere. Hit the like button if you could, friends. We'll be right back. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Yes, knowing who to trust with your finances can be a scary proposition. I'm right there in the front of the line with you. But I can tell you from personal experience that somebody that I trust is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business and you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground. You're not sure how to go about doing that. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. And he's also there anytime you have any questions. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.